Winter Storm 2021 in Texas has passed, and what an experience it was.
Hey, maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal.
Let's talk about what we learned. Hey everybody, Hill Country Prepper. Appreciate you guys checking out my videos. Thanks to all my subscribers. I appreciate the comments, keep them coming. Just want to say thanks for that. Seriously, this storm was a very serious matter. Currently, there are still people in Texas that do not have running water. For the most part, they have got the electricity back up, except for a very few isolated locations. But water still is a concern for a lot of people. I know that there are some people, some communities that have been without water supply since Sunday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, and they still don't have water. Now, I have heard it reported that they should be getting water tomorrow, which will be Sunday, and that will make it a 7-day outage without water. There's also been an estimated up to 20 deaths related to this storm just in Texas is what I have heard. Now, some of those deaths came about from traffic accidents. You may have saw on the national news where they had that very bad crash up in Dallas. Actually, I think it was Fort Worth. Last I heard, 6 people were dead, many more injured. The winter storm had brought freezing temperatures and people actually froze to death. In this day and age, if you can believe it, people freezing to death in their home. There were also deaths related to traffic accidents around the state due to the icy and snowy conditions. Also, and this happens every time it gets cold, there's always house fires. There were countless fires around the state related to improper use of space heaters. There was an incident over in San Antonio I saw reported on Friday where an apartment complex had caught fire the day before and was still burning. The fire department was unable to put it out because, number one, the water shortage, there's no water pressure, and any water that is there is frozen in the valves. So what they had to do was bring in water from water trucks. Last video I saw was of the apartment complex collapsing, approximately 130 units. So there's countless families that are displaced right now because of that event alone. And I know there have been others around the state as well. So what we need to do is keep all these people, all these families, keep them in our prayers because this was a very serious event. For us here in the Texas Hill Country, this was approximately a 72 to 96 hour event. From the time that it first started snowing on Monday morning until it really stopped on Thursday. We had snow, we had frigid temperatures. I believe in this area we had gone approximately 90 hours at below freezing temperatures. And then it was followed up with another big dousing of snow on Thursday. Of course, you know about the power outages. That was statewide. You know about the water shortages. I believe that was statewide as well. We're still currently in a boil order, and I think a lot of communities around the state are as well. Just when you think things are getting back to normal, I went out yesterday to the grocery store. It looked like I was in Venezuela. Produce wiped out. Bread wiped out. Dairy, eggs, meat, forget about water, wiped out. Shelves were empty. And now this was a major grocery chain, and they were completely wiped out. On the way back home, I noticed that a lot of the gas stations were not busy. I stopped and looked, and the reason is they're out of gas. So now we're also faced with a gasoline shortage. But the fast food locations have lines like have never been seen before. I guess because there's no food in the grocery stores, everybody's having to go to a Whataburger and Burger King to get something to eat. Let's talk a little bit about the things that did go well in preparing for this storm. Obviously, I had plenty of food. We've got a very good prepper pantry. My wife cooks a lot all the time, so we went into the weekend with a lot of meals that had already been prepared. I mean, we had a lot of leftovers in the refrigerator going into this. I didn't have to touch my long-term food storage, but I had it in case I needed it. As far as water, we have plenty of water set aside. We have approximately 17,000 gallon swimming pool in the backyard. If I really needed to get water, I can use that. I've got filtration systems, so water was never a concern. And besides, there was snow all around. I could have easily gone out and gotten some snow and melted that. Not a problem. So the water shortage really didn't affect us that much. Heat was not a concern either. We do have gas appliances. We do have a gas fireplace. So we were able to turn on the gas fireplace and keep the house reasonably warm when the electricity was off. Now I also have some portable heaters that I could have broken out if I needed to. I didn't, but I had them. I have plenty of propane, and I could have used those just as easily and kept the house warm. But we kept it in about, I think, around 65 to 67 degrees. It's a little cool, but it's not freezing. And of course, I've got first aid. That wasn't a concern. And the reason I mention that is if there would have been an accident around the house, we obviously could not go anywhere with the slick, frozen streets, but we had medical supplies, we had everything that we needed in that area, so not a concern. One thing a lot of people do overlook in times like this when they're trying to find alternative heating, and this kind of goes back to the home fires and the apartment fire that I was mentioning earlier. A lot of people don't have the means to extinguish a fire. Now we've got several of these around the house. These are put out by First Alert. It's an easy fire spray. It's really compact. You can put it right underneath the kitchen cabinet, the bathroom cabinet. This is very handy to have. Now we also have some regular canister extinguishers, but these are real handy. I'm going to leave a link down below for you. Self-protection was covered as well. The reason I mention that, there's been a rise in homeless activity in our area. What's been reported and what's been seen, I've seen it and others have seen it, is that there are groups of people that have started to become squatters. If there's somebody around this area that's got a vacant piece of land, they'll go on there and they'll set up camp. These people have had to be relocated. Obviously, this is not the time to be camping in the Texas Hill Country. I did hear a story this morning of one camp that had actually caught fire. I don't know the details, but it was a bad incident. So that's the reason that you need to have a means of protecting yourself. And I really didn't start to get worried about it until about day 3. From what I've learned and what I know, it's about day 3, 4, 5 when people start to get desperate. and do things they ordinarily wouldn't do. So I was on the watch for that. I had it covered. Hey, if you find this video helpful, why don't you give me a thumbs up and a like? And if you're not a subscriber yet, why not? Subscribe right now. And if you press down on that notification bell, you'll get notified each and every time I upload some new content. Now let's talk about some of the things that could have gone a little bit better. And yeah, I had some, and I'm going to do something about it. First on my list, and I'm really embarrassed to say this, I had a battery shortage. I knew this storm was coming. I knew what my appliances took, and I found myself with a shortage of D batteries. Yeah, I did. I need those batteries, one for my Grundig radio. I was unable to use that unless, I could plug it in when there was electricity, but in the times that I needed it when there wasn't any electricity, I couldn't use it. Now I did use that little Eton weather radio that I showed you in a earlier video, and I'll leave a link for that right up there. I was able to use that, assuming I could keep it charged. I needed those D batteries for some of my larger lanterns, but I didn't have any. So I'm going to rectify that for sure. Second thing that I struggled with just a little bit was the means to recharge the items that I had. Cell phones, iPads, stuff like that, small appliances. We have some rechargeable lanterns that I needed to recharge. Now they do have hand cranks, so I could charge them up that way, just like that little Eton radio had a hand crank, but it's a lot easier to charge it up with a battery pack. So that's something else I need to look into fixing, and I will. Now I did think about creating my own charging system with maybe solar, something like that. But the more I looked into it, I think the technology has come far enough along where I'm going to go and buy a charging unit that I can just keep charged, and that way when I need it, I can just plug my devices into it. They're making them very lightweight. They're making them very portable. What I buy off the shelf will be a lot easier to use and to maintain than anything that I could build myself. The next area where I had concern, it wasn't a problem, but I had concern, and that involved communications. One of the things that we noticed that we hadn't noticed before during this event, when the power went off, and sometimes the power does go off here in the Texas Hill Country, but this time when the power went off, so did the cell service. So we did not have a cell signal. In the case of an emergency, I don't know what we would have done had I needed to contact the fire or police or ambulance, or even if they could get out here to us. But the main thing is that I didn't have the means to do it, at least from my cell phone. Now I do have the means in the vehicles that we drive. We do have OnStar, and I do have Wi-Fi in my pickup truck that I did go out and use one day. I actually uploaded one of the videos from my truck because I do have Wi-Fi. But that's not the answer. So that's something I need to do better at. And in fact, Texas Redleg has a real good video of his CB unit, and I'm going to put a link to it right up here as well. Maybe it's over here. He's got a real good video out there, and I do encourage you to go check it out if you're thinking about doing the same thing. I'm going to look into it as well. Lighting was another area where we got by. We didn't suffer, but we probably could have done better. Now we have plenty of lanterns, like I said, even though I didn't have enough D batteries to go in all the big ones that I like to use. We do have lanterns. We do have flashlights. We have good flashlights. And we have lots of candles. So it was very romantic for a few nights with all those candles lit up. And plus I think they probably added a little bit to keeping the house warm too, so that was okay. Now, that said, I do have solar lights that are in the yard and up and down the driveway. I could have gone out and gotten those. Tuesday was a bright sunny day, so they would have come in handy had I wanted to bring them inside. I didn't need to, but they were there. So it might not be a bad idea to just have some extra solar lights on hand. And I know they make a lot of different styles. I think they make these small round ones that you can get about that big around. That might be a good thing to look into. And I think I'm going to do that. Next, and I really failed on this one. I really failed. I knew the event was coming. I did not check my generator. My generator would not start. I could not get it started. I still cannot get it started. Now my generator is a little bit old. It's a Coleman PowerMate 6250. I think it's about 15 years old or maybe older. Last time I started it up, didn't have any problems. This time, and I didn't really desperately need it, but had this event gone longer, I would have, and I'd be up shit creek because I can't get it started. So I'm going to have to get that fixed. Now what's ironic about that, just a couple of weeks ago, the wife and I were talking about the generator, and we talked about, you know, we need to go and get one of the newer ones that are quieter, more efficient. Yeah, we need to do that. Did I? No. Had this event gone longer, I'd have been in trouble. So I am going to rectify that. First, I'm going to fix the generator that I have and see what's wrong with that. Hopefully it's just a carburetor. I need a carburetor stuck. I need to fix it. Next, I'm going to go buy a newer generator, and I'll have this old one to be my standby. I think the question that we all need to ask ourselves, what have we learned? What have we learned in 2020? What have we learned so far in 2021? And more importantly, what do you think's coming next? I'd like to hear your comment down below, so leave me one there, okay? I'm going to check it out. I want to know what you think. What's next coming down the line? What can we do to prepare for it? Be sure and check out this next video if you want to learn more about how to be prepared. Appreciate you guys watching my video. Again, let's keep those people in our prayers that are suffering right now and that have lost loved ones. This was a bad event, no doubt about it. Thank you for watching. Just my thoughts, Hill Country Prepper. Thanks.